Hans Wormhat. In my last video, I talked about some of my experiences in graduate school, so I figured I would talk about this now, and that's the idea of plants. And what I mean by plant is a tranny who is planted into your life, and they have some specific goal, some ulterior motive. They're not really your friend. I mean, they'll go ahead and they'll play the part of being your friend, but what they have going on is some ulterior motive. And I'll just get into it to give you an example. I don't have a lot of these examples in my life, but then again, it's not like I've been overflowing with a bunch of friends my whole life. And it seems like they're often positioned in a particular time in your life. So like I said, in graduate school, when I went to a PhD program, this would be an obvious chance for them to be like, oh, this real male Hans guy is going to graduate school, so we're going to send our little plant in to become their best friend while they're there at graduate school. That's what I think has happened, and I'll explain why I think it happened that way, and just give some examples, I guess. Right, when you first go to graduate school, there's a whole group of people that are all first years, and obviously you're going to form friendships with those people. And FTM have never been my friend ever. They show no interest. I can try to be friendly with them. I can even like invite them to come hang out and stuff, and they'll just always make excuses about, oh no, can't, or whatever. FTM do not want to be friends with me. They don't. Typically. I'll give one example later. And in this first group of people, it was just like the perfect plant for me. Just another kind of lone wolf. A lot of lone wolf type characters are usually MTF, which is just, that's much more of a masculine thing, to kind of do your own thing and not care what other people say. Think of like really just this like MTF personality type. Think of the MTF that are just very eclectic, or they'll just, I don't know, march to the beat of their own drum. That's just a very masculine thing, to not care about really anything other than how you personally feel about stuff. A lot of FTM are very cliquey and very hive mind, so anyways, this MTF was just pretty similar to me in a lot of ways. And a lot of MTF are similar to me. And a lot of my friends have been MTF growing up. So it wasn't unlikely, I've just been used to this, getting along better with what I thought were girls, but now I know it's really just dudes pretending to be girls. And yeah, so this person, we have a lot in common, really, and it was just obvious that we were gonna hit it off and be friends. And it's never romantic. Me and MTF, it's just we're good friends. And people will obviously poke fun of it and try to make it out to, oh, you guys are in a relationship or whatever, but it never feels like that at all. It's just very platonic. It's because it's actually two dudes hanging out. And yeah, we were great friends, but why do I think this person was a plant? Well, because thinking back and talking to my wife about these things, I believe that this person's whole goal was to either cause me and my wife to break up, or to just cause a lot of strife and unnecessary conflict between us. And just some examples. I mean, this person would know that I was in a long distance relationship at the time with my wife, but this friend, quote unquote friend, would often just put us in scenarios where they would know it would just cause trouble. I would obviously be talking on the phone to my wife a lot, but this person would get mad, and we would, go out at night and hang out, and they would just, I don't know. I guess it's kind of hard to explain exactly how. It's very subtle, the way that these people work, and it just becomes clear that they wouldn't come out straight and say that they hate my wife, but they made it clear that they thought that my wife was a downer or trying to ruin all my fun. And when my wife would come up to visit, that's the thing. They're very subtle in the way that they'll kind of operate in your life, but it's way more obvious when my wife would come up and visit. My wife would say things like, "Oh gosh, I hate this person. You have no idea. They're just saying horribly mean things to me." And this is where I don't have a ton of experience, but a lot of my viewers I know have experience where MTF, so my real female viewers, have experiences where MTF are just so incredibly nasty and vile towards them. So that's what the bulk of this plant, the way that I know that this person is a plant, is that my wife would tell me all the time about all these mean, nasty, vile things that this person would do. And to me, unfortunately, I kind of didn't believe my wife because it sounded so over the top at the time. Why would this person, this was supposed to be my friend. Why would they be all behind my back nasty to my girlfriend at the time? And so now I know, I mean, of course my wife was telling the truth, and I feel horrible. I feel really bad that I didn't used to believe her, or I used to think that she was maybe exaggerating it a little bit. But now I know, oh no, 100%, this person was just being, I'm sure, very mean to my wife behind my back. So I know I'm being kind of vague. I'm not giving a ton of examples. Really, this video is more about sharing your experiences in the comments and thinking back to your life if you think that some of these trannies have been put in your life just with a specific goal in mind. And the reason that I know that this probably was the goal of this person, so when I like left the program, this person also just immediately left the program. It's like they never really had any intention of finishing the program. It's like they were just there hanging out, which is kind of more or less what my intention was. I never really entered it with the full intention of finishing it. But still, it just seemed odd that this person, it was like when I left, they just instantly left too. But then also, no communication afterwards. It's like zero intention of keeping the friendship alive. I reached out to this person maybe a few times after they left the program and I left, and they just didn't really show much interest in talking to me still, or still being a friend with me. And that's how a lot of these tranny relationships will work. It's like once they stop getting something out of it, they have no interest whatsoever. And this person, they would always talk about, oh, I love children, I love kids, whatever, I hate that word. I love children. And I have children of my own, and I even talked to them after I had my first child. And again, zero interest whatsoever, and oh, send me cute pictures. So there's something going on here where these people, they want to come and they want to be your best bud for a few years, but then it's like their contract ends and then they have no obligation to you anymore. And then you go and you look back at your relationship with that person and you're like, maybe it seems like, it really does seem to me that this person was just there to cause a rift between me and my wife, because so much of our friendship really revolved around, putting unnecessary stress between me and my wife. If you're a real friend, you don't try to do stuff like that. And really quickly, since this person's an MTF, I'll just give a few examples of why this person was just an obvious, nasty MTF and the types of things that these MTF do. Well, first of all, you could tell that they had jaw work done, because they had this like massive, but then also just a weird looking, huge jaw. It's because they're MTF that go in and try to shave it down, but you can tell something is up with your jaw. And another thing, this MTF would way overplay that time of the month. Normal women, they go on with their life. I'm sure that they don't enjoy it, but they don't make a huge scene out of it. This MTF, once a month, they would skip class. They would say, and over the top about it. Oh, well, I'm on my period, so I'm just in bed with my hot water bottle, and I'm just in so much pain. And another thing that this one would do, period related, like these MTF, they're not normal. They make huge productions out of it. They would talk all the time about how, oh, in New York the plumbing system is good because it's just like the city's plumbing system, so I just flush my tampons down the toilet. They would talk like, why would a woman talk about flushing their tampons down the toilet? This person would bring that up all the time, and I think it was they like to induce emotions in other people to get them to believe their nonsense. So I think that's what that's all about. Oh, I flush my tampons down the toilet, because that's something that you're not supposed to do, and it can mess up the plumbing. And I think that's just part of, they want you to be like, oh, why would you do something like that? Because if you get mad at them for, why would you flush your tampon down the toilet like that? You've already bought their lie. You've already bought the fact that they actually use tampons, which they probably don't. This was a super skinny, now looking back, yeah, just a doodly MTF. They probably never had their period, and they just played it up like this huge production. So that's it for that plant. I'll just talk about one other person who I think was planted in my life. And this is one of the few FTM that ever really wanted to be my friend. But again, it's one of those scenarios where now that this person isn't directly in my life, like I don't live near this person, they show zero interest in being a friend with me and contacting me. They would do things where I would contact them and chat with them online, and we would just be having a normal conversation, and then out of nowhere they just disappear. Like, real humans don't do stuff like that. And they wouldn't come back and say like, oh, sorry, I had to go somewhere. They just ghost you. You're just having a normal conversation with somebody, and boom, they just drop out. Or they even say something that it's like, you're just normally talking, and they say something like, ugh, or oh gosh, why are you being annoying or something, and then they just drop off. And it's like, I wasn't even being annoying, I was just having a normal conversation. So I've since cut this person out of my life because they just did that to me multiple times. We would just be in the middle of a conversation, and then they just leave in the middle of it like it's no big deal. And this person has actually tried to contact me back since then, and they're like, oh, guess what happened to me? They'll never just contact you and say, oh, hey, how's it going? I haven't talked to you in a while. I was wondering how you're going, how it's going, how your children are. They'll never contact you about stuff like that, but they'll contact you, hey, guess what happened to me? Who does that? Trannies do that. Anyways, this FTM, I think that I'll just get to what I think their goal was. So I don't know, are they getting paid? Or do they get some money funneled into their account if they do enough psyops on these people, or if they're doing a good job doing whatever their goal is? I have no idea. Do they just do it for kicks? I don't know. This is different. I guess I'll stop here and talk really briefly about, because some people have brought up gang stalking. I don't really believe in gang stalking. Every gang stalking video I've ever seen is some tranny making up stories about how they're being gang stalked. These people weren't gang stalking me. They're trannies that are in your life, and it's like they have some role to play. It's like they know, oh, with this person you're supposed to do this, or break up. You're supposed to try to break this person up with their girlfriend. Or in this FTM scenario, I think that what this person's job was to like make people think that I was gay, and make other regular humans. Like, so what they would probably do is, if there was a regular bio female around, they would probably sit there and talk about, oh, Hans, I'm waiting for Hans, because that's what this person would do. So this FTM, they would like wait outside of the class where I was in. Oh, I'm waiting for Hans, we're gonna go get lunch together. Which, yeah, that's not a real masculine thing to do. Men want to go do their own thing. They don't want to be waiting on other people's clock. They don't want to be. If I was gonna wait, if I wanted to like go get lunch with somebody, we had cell phones, I would just go do my own thing, and I would send them a text or give them a call after the class is over. I wouldn't sit outside of their classroom and whine to other people, oh, I'm just waiting for Hans, we were supposed to go get lunch together. They would do stuff like that, and this was a very whiny FTM. Some FTM are so whiny. But anyways, I've mostly said what I want to say about that plant. I think that the only reason that this person was really my friend was, well, obviously they kind of enjoy the friendship a little bit, I guess. It's hard to say with these trannies, but their ulterior motive for sure, I think, was to make people think that I was like gay with them, and they were gross, smelly. Some FTM, they have really bad BO. I think it's from taking testosterone. And looking back, why was I ever friends with these people? Well, I don't know, because I wanted to be friends with whoever, and it's not like I have a bunch of friends. No, most FTM, they hate me without even knowing me. So beggars can't be choosers, right? I've talked before about my MTFX. Sure, that even could have been a plant in my life. Like, oh, you're going to go be this person's girlfriend, boyfriend. And I don't know, the reasons that I just think that, because this person didn't really like me. I don't even know why. It's like you look back, why even was I in a relationship with this person? And too many things were just perfect. This person that I ended up being in a relationship with, this MTF, at the beginning of the school year, if you lived in the dorms, they put you in these little groups and you would go do these groupie activities. Well, guess what? That MTF was in my group. And the way that these groups were set up, they set these groups up so that the people that were in your group weren't in the same dorm as you, because the logic behind that is, well, you're going to meet the people that live in your dorm anyways, so this is an opportunity to go meet other people. Well, this person was in my group, and also they happened to live on just one floor below me in the same dorm as me. Too many things are just, right? Was this person positioned into my life in order to take on this role? I don't know. It's very possible that some plants will even try to form a relationship like that, to be your tranny girlfriend or your tranny boyfriend. It's possible. And I'll just end with an example of one of my commenters. This person is a plumber, and they get a lot of FTM inverts that shadow them. You know, they want to learn how to be a plumber, I guess. But they say that their tranny apprentices, they never show any interest in actually learning about the trade. It's like they're just there to observe what's going on. And you could think of that being kind of a plant. Some of these plants, they might not take on these huge, oh, you're going to go be this person's best friend role, but they might just have you're going to monitor role. Or maybe even a different role of, you're going to go learn how to be a man by going and watching this man do stuff. And so, yeah, just one of my commenters has talked before about they've had a bunch of different FTM apprentices, and it's clear that they show no interest in learning the trade, but it's all about something else, some ulterior motive. And if you're stuck in one of these scenarios, so what this person does is they kind of flip it around. Well, now that you know, the tables have turned, right? You can kind of flip it around and poke fun at them, say that you don't believe their BS. He's even learned some good information. One of his tranny apprentices, if you've ever seen a concrete pineapple outside of people's houses, I guess that's where the orgies take place. So you can kind of get little tidbits of information from them like that if you turn the tables on them. And this same person, I'm almost certain that they've said that they've had tranny plants in their life before that tried to get between them and their wife. So that must be a common theme, where if there's two normal humans who are getting together, forming a relationship, it seems like they like to send out a tranny plant or two to try to break them up. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video. This video is really about just forming discussion in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys have to say on this. God bless everybody.